Welcome, my dear listener. Are all how are you, the friends? That what I will tell you about today's class 8 lesson number 10 Tales of Childhood, read by Roald Dahl. So I started the lesson. My father, Harold Dahl, was a Norwegian who came from a small town near also called Sarpsborg. His one father, my grandfather, was a fairly prosperous merchant who owned a store in Sarpsborg and traded in just about everything from cheese to chicken ware. My father had lost an arm when he was 14 but had become a successful shipbroker. A shipbroker is a person who supplies the ship with everything it needs when it comes into port: fuel and food, ropes and paint, soap and towels, hammers and nails, and thousands of other little items. A shipbroker is a kind of enormous shopkeeper for ships, and by far the most important item he supplies to them is the fuel on which the ship's engines run. In those days, only coal. He set up a shipbroking farm at Cardiff of South Wales. My father met my mother, Sophie McDonnell Hasselberg, during the summer of 1911 and one married soon after. In 1918, when I was two, you, we all moved into an imposing country mansion beside the village of Radir, about its miles north of Cardiff. I remember it as a mighty house with terraces on its roof and with majestic lawns and terraces all around it. There were many acres of farm and woodland, and a number of cottages for the staff. Very soon the meadows were full of milk, milking cows, and the sties were full of pigs, and the chicken run was full of chickens. There were several horses for pulling the plows and the hay wagons, and there was a playman and a cowman and a apple, a couple of gardeners, and all manner of servants in the house itself. In 1920, when I was still only three, my mother's eldest child, my one sister St. died from appendicitis. She was 7 years old when he died. St. was far and away my father's favorite. He adored our Vinod Mizar, and her sudden death left him literally speechless for days. Afterwards, he was so overwhelmed with grief that when he himself went down with pneumonia a month or so afterwards, he did not much care whether he lived or died. If they had penicillin in those days, neither appendicitis nor pneumonia would have been so much of the a threat. But with no penicillin or any other magical antibiotic cures, pneumonia in particular was a very dangerous disease indeed. The patient had to fight to survive. My father refused to fight. He was thinking, I am quite sure if his beloved daughter and he was watching to join her in heaven. So he died. He was 57 years old. My father had now lost a daughter and a husband, all in the space of a few weeks. Here she was suddenly having to face all alone the very gravest problems and responsibilities. She had 5 children to look after. She sold the big house and moved to a smaller one a few miles away in Llandaff. It was called Cumberland Lodge and was nothing more than a pleasant, medium sized suburban villa. So it was in Llandaff 2 years later, when I was 6 years old, that I went to my first school. The school was a kindergarten run by two sisters, Mrs. Corfield and Miss Tucker, and it was called the Elementary House. It is astonishing how little one remembers about one's life before the age of 7 or 8. I can tell you all sort of things that happened to me from age honors, but only very few before that. I went for a whole year to elementary house, but I cannot even remember what my classroom looked like, nor can I picture the faces of Mrs. Caulfield, of Miss Tucker, although I am sure they were sweet and smiling. I do have a blurred memory of sitting on the stairs and trying over and over again to tie one of my shoelaces. But that is all that comes back to me at this distance of the school itself. On the other hand, I can remember very clearly the journeys I made to and from the school because they are so tremendously exciting. Great excitement is probably the only thing that really interest a 6-year-old boy, and it sticks in his mind. In my case, the excitement centered around my new tricycle. I rode to school in it every day with my adult sister riding on hers. No grown ups came with us, and I can remember oh so vividly how the two of us used to go racing at enormous speeds down the middle of the road. And then, most glorious of all, when we came to a corner, we would lean to one side and take in onto wheels. All this, we must realize, was in the good old days when the sight of a motor car on the street was an event, and it was quite safe for tiny children to go tricycling and hopping their way to school in the center of the highway. So much then for my memories of kindergarten 62 years ago. It's not much, but it's all there is left. So, friends, for today's chapters, like to come, please like it and enjoy. Those who have not yet subscribed to my channel, they must be subscribed to such adaptation. Thanks a lot to those who subscribe to my channel.